Three, two, one.
Hello.
Hola.
I was trying to come with a little bit of energy. So you are watching Talent Talk. This is our market update covering, this is February now, but this is covering what happened in January of 2022. The month wrapped. We've had time to reflect a little bit. Today, we're going to talk about what happened. What does it mean? And as we move into the future, what it's going to mean when you're looking at buying, selling, investing, or participating in the real estate market. I'm Jurgen Robinson, and this
I'm
is
Christina.
Hey. How are you doing this morning?
Doing good on this overcast Washington morning.
You say that, I look outside and I see sunshine. I'm over in Arizona, and we are going to be tapping into 80 degrees today, which is it's beautiful. It really is. In February. And notice I said Ruary. There's an R in there.
Not February.
Not February. So as we get started into this, we try to look everything over, and it's interesting to see what happened. We just came off of 2021, which was a pretty historic year. It was very hectic. It was very tough. We've talked about it many times to be a buyer in the market. And you know what? Automatically, the assumption is if it's hard for buyers, it must be really, really easy for sellers. But that's not necessarily the case either. Why would that be?
Well, there is, obviously, for sellers, especially a lot of those sellers have to sell a house and they're going to move somewhere else. So we see challenges with taking, one home and trying to make an offer and where they're going to live. Sellers can easily leave money on the table these days as they're wanting to do things on their own for sell by owners. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects within the real estate market. We can't assume that it's just easy, the easy button you can hit, but there's definitely is more and there's lots of risks that have presented themselves in this market that sellers need to be aware of and buyers need to be aware of as well. So
Absolutely. And oh, I'm sorry, Kitty. I am not intending to weather shame. If you're curious about some of the ways of competing in the market, over the past couple of weeks, we've been going over that for both buyers and sellers inside these markets. Some tips, if you're ever interested, definitely reach out to us and let us know. We would be happy to help and work with you on that. We have set up for today to go over some things going on, really specifically watching over Washington State. Davina, you pulled up a little bit of information on Washington State as a whole. We've got a couple of little clips that will go over what happened in January through the Northwest MLS. We have something we can share into the counties of Thurston and then maybe a little bit into Pierce. And then hang through, stick with us, because we'll actually talk to you about what we see, what this means going forward through this year and potentially beyond. We don't have a crystal ball, but we do have the brains in our heads.
A little bit. I was kidding.
Oh, yeah. When I shake it, it rattles.
More than others, but no, I'm just kidding.
All right.
Just kidding.
Oh, and before we talk about that, though, looked over Freddie Mac. They released a primary mortgage market survey on Thursdays, so had a chance to peek at that. That is, if you what the average is from Freddie Mac tracking it. With a 20% down, excellent history or excellent credit, and just everything lined up really well. The interest rate, it rose to 3.69%. It actually jumped up. Last week, it was 3.56% or 3.55%, which was pretty consistent for the prior 3 weeks. Last year, it was 2.73%. And that actually does make an impact because every 1% rate that the interest rate rises on a mortgage impacts your purchasing power. The number I always have is really about 10.75%, about 10% for some people, but about 1 point of interest rate influences your purchasing power by about 10.75%. So this could be the difference between qualifying for a home or not qualifying for a home, or qualifying for the home of your dreams or not, right?
That's right. So just to recap, so we are looking at just going through the market update on what happened just this past month into, last year, into this year, and kind of looking at what's going on in our market in general. We hear a lot of, we get a lot of questions, and we also hear a lot of speculation. What is it like out there? If you're listening, what is it that you guys are concerned about? Or what is it that you're hearing? And you're like, is this true? Or, drop it in the chat. We would love to hear from you on like, what are you curious about? Where you think we're going, or what's changed? So, have you noticed a change in the market? What are you seeing, out there, like in this season right now? And also want to remind you that we have a win a trip. What's a win a trip? We have a win a trip.
In the chat, you'll be able to see or the comments, you'll be able to see a link. You can click on that link and you can register to win a trip. It's drawn 3 times a year, and it can take you anywhere around the world. The only limits are your imagination. So we draw that 3 times a year. Go in, enter. We want to always find ways of giving back and serving, and this is one of the ways we do it.
Absolutely. Kitty, oh gosh, are short sales still a thing? That is a really good question. And, I guess the question when asked is, what is a short sale? What is a short sale,
Are you
Jurgen?
asking? A
Yeah.
short sale is contrary to what a lot of people might think a short sale would reference. Oftentimes they think it might reference height, and it's not just height restrictions. It's not referencing time, where it is a shortening of the time frame. It's actually a shorting of the amount owed for whatever the loan balances, liens, or any other things that are tied to the property, that you want to be able to sell the property for less than is totally owed on the property.
Yeah.
And that
So the
requires
money is
approvals.
short. The
Yes.
money is short money, right?
With inflation, every day money seems shorter, doesn't it?
It doesn't go as far as short.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So a short sale is when the asset, the house, does not make up the lien, or the cost of the home. The price of the home does not cure the liens on the property. And therefore, if there's a lender, that means you're selling the home short. And that means the lender or any of the lien holders have to approve a sale and take less. And we were seeing a lot of short sales, when we had the uptick when we had the market crash. Well, call it the market crash, but when the bubble burst back in that 2007, 8 range, and banks, there were a lot of short sales, there were a lot of foreclosures, and it was a buyer's market in that time frame. Now, we are not seeing a lot of short sales right now because prices have increased. And even if people have missed mortgage payments, or even people that could be in a foreclosure situation, if they bought their home, a few years ago, it's likely that they have a pretty good amount of equity. So we aren't really seeing a lot of short sales that are happening in this market because the home values have increased. So at least in our market here. So
Yeah, about the time you start to see short sales is typically when you start to see an increase in foreclosures, people not being able to make their payments. We just actually went through being able to do forbearances, where it was the deferral of payments, and once it was done, needing to be able to maybe renegotiate the loan, or owing those deferred payments back to the lender or the servicing organization. But what we found is one of the reasons there aren't a lot of short sales or foreclosures is because there's a lot of equity that is built over the past few years in homes as people have purchased with the low rates and being able to sell. So are they a thing? Yeah. I mean, on a maybe a very small scale, we haven't run across really any. It doesn't mean that they don't exist and they're not out there at all, but nowhere near the levels that we saw in 2010, 11, 12, 13, and really about, I'd say 13, 14 is where things started to maybe be flatlined, a little bit more of a balanced market before we got more, not necessarily frenzies, but escalated and then kind of into the frenzy market we've experienced over the last 2 years.
Yeah. Well, Nikki, Nikki with an N. Okay, anyway, Nikki said that she's seen that the market's picked up well before the springtime uptick. And, actually that was one of the things was we talk about the market. There's a housing market cycle that's it's a trend. And a year over year, it is, it pretty much has been the same. However, I'd like to see what the housing market trend still looks like, even though we've gone through a COVID year. We kind of had a little bit of a dip definitely in 2020, as we shut down for that hot minute. But usually right before the official first day of, when we get into the spring market, we usually get a pretty big influx. People are thinking, oh, the weather's changing, flowers are blooming, spring cleaning and the house repairs are being done. And let's put our house on the market because we've got that fresh coat of paint and we've planted the tulips and, all of those things. And so Nikki is saying that she's seen that we've already seen a pickup, which we're only in February, of the market. And, and that is, we are seeing more houses that are popping on the market right now. They are being absorbed really quickly as well. But, homes are, we are getting a little bit more inventory coming up, but that inventory is not lasting long at all.
Yeah, with Nikki being a great agent, that is a very solid observation about the spring uptick. Normally a little bit of a downturn when it goes into the wintertime, into the holidays, and then the recovery time during the first part. And as you mentioned, Davina, people getting the home ready to actually go into the market. And then we see this kind of surge that happens typically during the springtime. But the past 2 years, the winter hasn't really dropped it too much. Inventory has gone lower during those times, but the demand has remained very high. So it almost gets very heated. Like when we're working with buyers right now, as we worked with buyers during the wintertime, the intensity for the buyers has stayed very high during that. The unfortunate thing is during the holidays and during that time, we do see the inventory lower. And that did happen, which actually turns up the intensity more. So, I mean, a lot of competition. We will see hopefully some easing of that competition coming along with more homes coming on the market. But I mean, it's incredibly active still.
Yep. So we love you too.
Love you.
So what is going on? Where are we starting now?
Well, why don't we start here? Why don't we start with, you pulled up a little bit of information on Washington State as a whole for real estate. And that will kind of set the stage that we can narrow it down to what happened activities in January for the Northwest MLS. The Northwest MLS covers 26 of the 39 Washington State counties. So we can kind of hear what happened there. And then we can bring it down specifically to Thurston County, but maybe we can take a little peek into Pierce County as well. Those are the areas that our offices most commonly serve, but we also serve other outside areas. So if anybody's interested or wants to ask some questions, please reach out. I mean, we are local market experts and we want to help you. We have a huge amount of support to serve whatever your needs are.
Yep. And so the overview in Washington is more of a large view as we look at real estate. A lot of the questions that we end up getting are, is it a good time? Are we in a bubble? Where is real estate going? And so this is kind of like the long view of real estate, and the information. You can tap into it. It's state information. It's actually pulled from all the MLSs and all of the organizations, and it's on the actual State Office of Financial Management website as well. So, but just looking at the long view, so going back like 20 years in real estate, when median home prices were for the whole state $176,000 was the median home price in Washington state. Okay. Now, looking at as we increased, you've got things like inflation and all these things. And then, of course, we usually talk about a 10-year cycle. So every 10 years, there usually is an adjustment, right? So 2010, that's kind of almost there. We were right in that the market. We had the bubble, right? And that was a huge event that happened in our real estate market. But here's the thing is that even though we had that bubble, it was more like a 2006, 2007. By 2010, 10 years later, the average home price, because inflation had happened, prices had gone up, prices went back down. Average home prices in 2010 statewide were $246,000. Now look, that's still investment increase. Even though year over year there was there had been an anomaly which actually brought our housing prices down. We at that point, by 2000, and just to give a little bit of perspective, by 2007, average home prices were 309,000. Okay, so by 2010, down to 246, and then as we fast forward to 2020. Average home prices had increased up to $452,000 average median home price. And so if we look at that overview of home prices, even though we had a bubble burst, okay, a major economic correction, we still in 20 years went from 176,000 average home price to $452,000 average median home price. So, I mean, if you're looking at, what our economic, if you look at trends, and if we went back predated 2020 back into the 70s, the 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the history tells the story. Where is real estate going? We're going to have these ups and downs, but even in our state history, our national history of home ownership, home prices are on course to continue to increase overall. And overall, looking at history, homes are a better investment than any stock or any, maybe not any stock, but but for the overall place to put your investment portfolio should definitely include real estate. So I'm just looking at that. I would say pull the numbers up. I mean, there are a lot of numbers. A couple of things that obviously, the vast majority of homes are all purchased with a mortgage. And, there is and that demand and supply and demand, not just for homes to live in, but for investments, for rental units, So, the cost of borrowing money has definitely gone down since the year 2000, and ability to make those payments are a major influence on ability to purchase, and also leveling out. How could someone, that, was struggling to get $176,000 home in 2000 afford a $450,000 home in 2020? Well, we talk about income, we talk about interest rates, and those are two huge things that influence the affordability factor in home ownership. So anyway, that is a little bit of a broad overview of, how do you feel about where the market has been and where the market is going, and it's all pretty relative to those things. So
okay, so you know what? With that in mind, we're going to actually take that closer look. We're going to examine the Northwest MLS, 26 of the 39 Washington state counties, and we're going to take a look at what happened in January and see what does that mean for February and beyond. Also getting down a little bit closer. So first is going to be right over here. Believe it or not, we got some little video clips over here. And what we have is we've got the closed sales. So this is closed sales activities with condos and residential. It's 5,085 homes sold in the Northwest MLS, which is actually down about 800 from 2021. We have the median home price, $555,000, up 14.8%, with a total dollar value of $3.4 billion in residential. So was it active in the home market in the Northwest MLS in Washington state? Absolutely. The biggest reason why it was down just a little bit, from like 800 homes at 13.76% in terms of closed sales from 2021 really was due to the level of homes that were for sale. The amount of inventory this year from last year dropped a little. So again, it wasn't the matter that we had fewer people who were looking to buy homes. As a matter of fact, we may have even, because of the rising interest rates and the potential for that to impact what the home affordability might be for somebody, I think the buyer intensity is actually higher right now than it was last year. There's just fewer options. So the next thing, well, how do we get more options? So the next thing to look at is the new construction. There were 828 new construction homes that were sold. One of the things, the median sales price on those was $724,975, which is up 18.9%. And if you've looked for a new home over the past half year to year, you definitely have felt it. There have been a lot of increases, and this isn't just pure profit. The price of contractors have gone up dramatically. Getting a good contractor has been incredibly hard for a lot of builders. Also, the price of materials is raised, and all the delays of being able to get the things that actually you need, from appliances to building materials, has been crimped. So, there's a reason for that beyond just a pure profit driving. There's a lot going on in there. And there's still not enough new homes that are being built. With that in mind, we talked about inventory. What does that inventory look like? 0.61% of or 0.61 months of inventory. You can see how much lower. That's a little graph that shows you how that months of inventory is dropping down. And what is months of inventory? Every home, you look at every home that's available to sell on the market right now, based on the past averages of how quickly homes have been selling per month. It's saying that in a little over 2 weeks, every home that is currently available on the market will be under contract within a little over 2 weeks. That's incredibly fast, because a balanced market is 3 to 6 months. That's why we call it a frenzy market. So we are continuing that trend. That inventory is so incredibly low. So the next one is to be able to talk about the new listings. Are we getting new listings? Sure we are. But as you can see here, 5,927, it's down. That new listing percentage is down from last year, same time, 13.8%. So again, that's why we're seeing more of that decrease in the number of closed contracts. It's not, again, because of a waning intensity. It's really an amplifying of the intensity because we don't have enough homes to sell. If you have a home to sell or are thinking about it, and you want to take advantage of the market, but you're just maybe a little scared, you don't know what to do, we have strategies to help you. We actually talked about a few of them, but we've got a few more that we always keep in our bag. And the next one over here is just the pending home sales. So what's going on with pending home sales? You can see that total 6,350. Homes are going under contract very quickly, as we saw from the months of inventory. It's just really due to that low inventory. The increase in the rates really hasn't stopped it. And if you're curious about the counties that are actually covered by the Northwest MLS, where they're pertinent, you can see these are the major counties through Washington State for a very vast amount of the population. So that is a wrap up of what happened in January 2022 in the Northwest MLS. What do y'all think?
Yeah, and then just to recap, we are going over the market update, just what's been going on in our area in the last month, kind of looking at, what does that mean for us here in 2022 and maybe even beyond, and actually looking a little bit at the history of real estate and where prices have been, even through the anomalies that have happened within our marketplace, including COVID. So, we definitely want to hear from you guys if there's, any questions that you have about where the market is going or where do you think certain things. One of the things that I think that we didn't talk about is land, right? Interestingly, it used to be land would just sit forever on the market. And, we're looking at a year or, 6 months, 2 years. And now, because there is a shortage of homes, people are looking and leaning into building. And now the builders are backed up. So even the spec builders, the custom home builders are backed up. Land is now going at a premium. So here's another thing is if you've been sitting on land, we're all sitting on land, right? But if you've been sitting on a vacant lot, you might want to think about actually selling that lot. People are even talking about, doing boundary line adjustments or, platting and things like that because of there's definitely a benefit now, and a lot of equity is now in land as well. So another piece of the market and the piece of that puzzle, we need
Yeah.
more land. Yeah.
Hey, good morning, Donna. Donna's giving the shaka symbol.
Yeah.
She's hanging
Good
loose.
morning.
So, you know what? When we bring it down, great reset because we talked about kind of a larger, broader view within Washington State, also a little historical context to talk about it. Then we brought it into January and then Northwest MLS. Really, what is the culprit right now is inventory.
Hmm.
The intensity is there. So if we bring it down a little bit closer and actually bring it to Thurston County, this is a report or a little housing update that we do. If you ever want this, we can get you signed up and you can get this delivered in the county of your choice, or we even go down, if you would like, into individual neighborhoods. We can completely define it for you so there's most relevant information you can possibly get as far as the market conditions go. But I'm going to share just a quick little screen over here. And excuse me. What we're going to end up seeing is the John L. Scott market update. And Lennox Scott is the CEO, grandson of John L. Scott, and chairman and CEO. And he does such a fantastic little wrap up here, too. As 2022 kicked off, the Thurston County housing market continues to be at a high intensity for buyers and sellers. The market remains, just like we talked about, the market remains virtually sold out. And there is a significant backlog of buyers looking for a home to purchase. That's that intensity. Given these market conditions, nearly all homes are going under contract within a week of being listed on the market. That's crazy. Additionally, home prices are at a premium pricing level as multiple offers are commonplace in price ranges where there's a shortage of available homes for sale. What I like about the chart that you're seeing in front of you right now, are we seeing it?
We're not seeing a chart.
Oh, well, here, let me show it like this. Or maybe not. I could have swore I did a share.
I said screen share, and I was like, okay, it's coming. It's okay.
Oh, you know why? Because I just looked and Chrome has lost the ability to share my screen. So I'm going to let you know how weird. What we see is between these, actually, as opposed to making you bear through all the words, what you're going to see in Thurston County is really what you see through Pierce County and what you really see throughout Washington State. We have a very low inventory. We have a very high buyer demand. The low inventory is caused as much as anything by the fact that so many sellers have to also be buyers, and there's fear about what is going to happen. How are you going to make those steps? It bears out in the numbers right now. The highest, most active by almost 3/4 of all sales in Thurston County are between the 350,000 range to the 750,000 range. That is where almost all of the activity is. Before, that was probably going to be the 250 to 500, but appreciation has brought us up where the range is really 350 to 750 for Thurston County. In Pierce County, following a very similar thing, it's between 350 to 750, again, representing nearly 3 out of every homes sold last year last month within that area. It is an extreme shortage. We do look, Nikki had mentioned in her comments that, what about a spring uptick? And there should be a level of that. But right now, the buyer intensity is so incredibly high because of the fear of inflation, appreciation, interest rates. People are trying to get in now. So, if you want a few strategies on being a buyer or a seller, we did that over the past couple of weeks. Let us know. We would be glad to help you. But this definitely is a market in January that was very fast moving. It was about 2 weeks for homes to be on the market. In some cases, just a week or less for how quickly they were going under contract. It is looking to continue into February. What are some factors that might slow that down a little bit? It could be the increasing in the interest rates. It could be some new form of a variant coming through and causing another hiccup or pause or such. But everything that we see, it looks to be a continuation from the start of January. And we should see that through probably a majority of 2022. So getting strategies, making sure you're completely prepped and have all of your ducks in a row, being ready is probably the best thing you can do, and getting good, sound advice.
That's right. And we only have a few minutes left before we go. And one of the other things that just throwing that out there, and I've been hearing, is it's tax season. And so as consumers are going out and filing their taxes and getting their tax refunds, they're actually being able to, thinking, okay, I'm going to pad the kitty. Now I'll have a little bit of extra money for down payment, or,
I
a
thought
little
you physically meant a
appraisal,
pet.
or, you know, patting the kitty, no, petting the kitty. So, it's just a little bit, as we're in this season, and we're in the tax season through April time frame, then we're seeing a little bit of hope in, I didn't quite save enough yet. In the next few months, I think we're going to really see a lot more buyers out on the marketplace.
Or it might
So
even be
a
that
lot
we'll
more
be able to see more.
prepared buyers in the marketplace as well. So
They'll have more selection.
yeah.
I mean, that's the great thing. If you're a seller right now, or you could potentially be a seller, and we actually have a way that you could buy a home prior to even selling your home. But right
Mhm.
now, the intensity level, that buyer intensity level, is cranked up so high because there's such a lack of inventory. If you are close or prepared to be able to put your home on the market right now, would almost be strategically a great time to do it, because you will probably have as much attention on your particular home because of the lack of competition as you'll have throughout this year. So
Yeah. And just for any buyers that's out there, and you see, there's four homes. Oh, there's four homes that now popped on the market that's in the area that I'm looking at. Please don't take your time and say, oh, well, there's four. Those four, you've got multiple other people that are looking at it. Your best bet is to get in and see it and make an offer right away, even though there are review dates. That's a whole nother show about review dates. But even though there are review dates that are in place, don't wait to the last minute. Those homes are getting snapped up even before the review
yeah.
dates come.
All
So
right. So how do we wrap this up? For a market review, it's a frenzy market right now. There is a high intensity. There is a lack of inventory. We will see more inventory come on, but as we continue to watch rates rise and as appreciation builds, I don't see how this slows down prior to us getting at least into the fall time, unless we just have something that is unanticipated really influence or impact the market.
yeah. So if you're in real estate, it's a great year to be in real estate. If you're looking for real estate, your time to move is now. And we're expecting to see the market still continue to appreciate, maybe not at the same levels that we've seen, but we are still expecting the market to appreciate. So there's not really much new news. But again, we're in a place where we just need to make sure that we stay educated and we keep moving.
Yeah,
So,
and understanding you're right. There's not necessarily new news, but getting informed about the area and the consultation about understanding specific market conditions in areas, that could be the difference between finding the right home, not finding the right home, getting under contract for the right home or not, or making compromises on where you want to be. Or there's so many different things that sometimes we want to rush because we feel that pressure. But as opposed to just rushing and running aimlessly, getting a plan together and then attacking the plan deliberately and intentionally, that is more likely to result in success than just being in a massive action, but no direction.
That's right. That's right. So, wow, there's so much more.
Yeah.
There's so much more, and there's so many facets of it, and we just, we love what we do, and we're thankful that we get to actually talk about it to you as well. Um, but as we close up today, there are again, want to remind you, it's not too late to get your form, win a trip form, enter. I have issues with trying to win a trip. So
Yeah.
again, as that is 3 times a year, there is a drawing and someone actually wins a $4,000 credit to the vacation of their choice. So you get
Okay.
to choose. And so don't forget to do that. No purchase necessary. And also we have some events that are coming up as
I
well.
mean, right after this closes down, Steve Chung, who's normally with us, is hosting a Forms Friday. That is a opportunity. We know that knowledge is really important, and how to apply that knowledge is incredibly important when it comes to the forms and negotiations. So we host, if you're in real estate, we host a Forms Friday. Reach out to us. We'd love to invite you in, and we just want to make sure everybody's got those basics so they can best represent the parties that they're trying to represent, whether that, again, seller, investor, buyer, whoever it might be. We want to make sure that you are the best representative you can possibly be. And then we also have Davina.
Career night, yeah. So that is if you're in the area, it's at 4:30. It's on the 22nd of February, so it's in person and it is virtual as well. If you are interested in joining us on a career night, just learning what it is to be a real estate professional, the benefits and the work that it takes, and also able to get you signed up for the licensing courses that are also 100% online. And so if you have a little bit of a spark of interest in wanting to know what it is, it's free. Join us on the 22nd, and the link to register and RSVP is in the chat.
Awesome. Yeah, one of the best things about real estate is the impact that you are able to have on at such a personal level with people, with families, with colleagues, etc. And when I think about real estate and think about growth, there's a quote from Zig Ziglar that I'm always incredibly fond of, which is, you can have anything you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. And that's all we're looking to do every single day, is find people to help. And the more people we help, the better our life will be as a whole.
That's right. That's right. And as we wrap, we've got a 2022, we've got a class. It's Facebook business page tutorial for beginners, step by step. Christy is going to be leading that, and she's amazing. She's a wealth of knowledge. And so join us there, register, and be there or be square.
Yeah.
And anything else that we need to mention? Next
Ah,
week. Yes, our next week, we are gonna be talking about the 6th, what is it? Highest return.
ROI home improvement projects that you can possibly do to maximize your home and actually set yourself apart in the market.
Mhm.
So if you are considering, if you're thinking about it, it's just a little glimmer of thought that you might want to put your home on the market. You might be a little scared, and you got a couple things to do. If you want to know how to maximize what you're going to do to get your home prepared to go on the market, next week is the show for you.
Mhm. Or if you don't wanna put your home on the market, but you wanna do some improvements that will have some value when you do,
Fair enough.
there you go, right? So,
Absolutely. I mean, how often do we get asked those questions? What should I do this? Should I do that?
yeah,
It,
yeah.
it all depends on what is right for you. Are you doing it for you, or are you doing it for the market?
Yep, yep. This weekend, Super Bowl Sunday, and then Monday's Valentine's Day. This is like, wow.
All
It's
right.
the man's day on Sunday and the woman's day on
You know
Monday.
what? The question we should have asked at the beginning is, what is your Super Bowl food go-to?
Yeah, I know, we
I
missed that.
For me, of all things, barbecue meatballs. It's the one time I love the crock pot meatballs, and I just every time
Mm.
wings will be out there, nachos will, but I always look forward to the meatballs.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a dip person. I like dips.
Really? You put
Mhm.
your hand upon your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip.
Mhm.
No?
No dip, baby. Come on, now dip. I'm just kidding.
That's got to be a commercial somewhere, you know?
There's so many dips, right? So,
Ooh, Bradley. Brad is a taco dip.
yep,
And good to see you, Brad.
yep.
Christie's
Mhm.
Wings,
Yeah.
classics.
So the thing is that if you can have it all, right? Dips, wings, pizza,
We can have
meatballs.
it all, which means on Monday, the diet starts again.
No, because it's dinner. You've got to take your Valentine out to dinner. So it
Oh,
has to be on
gosh.
Tuesday, isn't
All
it?
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
All right. So we always wrap with this. Appreciate everyone showing up.
yep.
Hopefully, you got a lot of value. Next week, don't forget that we're going to do the 6 top ROI things for your home. If you are looking at potentially putting your home on the market, what will give you the best value back? And we always leave with 2 words. Oh,
Oh,
I was so sure those words were gonna pop up. They're be bold. Davina, do you want to take us out on a big be bold? Have everyone declare?
absolutely. Let's just do it. Let's yell it from the rooftops, right? We're going to do something gets outside of that comfort zone. And we are going to say, be bold on 3. And we're going to have a great weekend on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Be
Be
bold.
bold. All
Bye.
right. See you guys later.